function of the alarm tag, it's a tag that has features that when you create it in PC4 DRAW, then those features can be exported specifically to our OIT, or Operator Interface Terminal. So what I'll do is I've opened a new configuration in PC4 DRAW, and this is a standard example of an airflow controller with O2 trim. So what I'm going to do, just to go over how to set up an alarm tag, is I'm going to connect this blank alarm tag to the output of this low alarm block. So I'm going to highlight the current connection, and I'm going to delete that. I'm going to move this tag over here out of the way. I'll arrange this, and then I'm going to bring the connection out of the existing output on the low alarm block and connect it to the alarm tag. Now we get our alarm tag settings pop up, and here I can name or give this alarm tag a tag name. So we're going to name this Alarm 1. The next item down is the label or event. So once this is exported to the OIT, then if this tag to go true, this label or event will show up in the alarm page of the OIT. So rather than having to set this up in the OIT, you can set it up here in PC4 DRAW and just do an export. So I'm going to make the label Alarm 1 is active. And then here at the bottom, we have to enable the Alarm 1 event mode. So we're going to switch this to active on. So anytime this tag is true, this label will appear in the alarm page history. All right, and that's how you set up an alarm tag. Now, going back to normal tags for a minute, not only can we use tags to connect the outputs of blocks to our Modbus connection, but we can also connect Modbus tags to parameters within a block. So if we were to take a blank tag here, start our connection from the blank tag, and connect it to the low alarm block, you see now our input pop-up has come up, and not only can we select an input, but we could also select a parameter. One thing to note here, in the input pop-up, block inputs are highlighted in white, block parameters are highlighted in this orange-yellow color. So let's say that we wanted to tie this blank tag to the internal set point of this low alarm block. So we would highlight the internal set point, hit OK, and now our tag settings pop-up has appeared. This will allow us to name this tag, give it a unique Modbus address, and then a label and description. So in the tag name, we'll say that this is low ALM SP. With a Modbus address of 29, we'll leave that at 29, and then we'll leave the label and description blank. These aren't necessary in order to program the tag. The access for connections from tags to parameters should be set to read and write. And now this tag has a connection to the internal set point of this low alarm block. So then, if we were to access this tag or reference this tag in our Operator Interface Terminal program, so we're accessing Modbus Register 29, that would give us the connection from Modbus Register 29 to parameter 3 in the low alarm block. So we used P-Link in PC3 to make connections between Modbus registers and block parameters. Whereas in PC4, we have an unlimited number of registers that we can reference within the program. The question is, will it give you an error if you try to use the same Modbus address? And the answer is yes. In fact, whenever you're trying to create the tag, if you're using the same Modbus register that's already used in the program, it won't even let you create the tag. It says this register is already in use. Choose another register. So tags are not only used to make connections to Modbus devices external to the controller, but tags are also used to make connections to the panel, the front panel screen. The Edit tab, this will bring up the Edit tool, a drop-down toolbar. If you go to the icon that's all the way on the left side of the screen, Open Panel Settings, this is where you perform your panel setup. Rather than doing the panel setup from the panel block, Here, you would go to the open panel settings and change the display parameters from here, from this pop-up menu. The panel data is also all tag based. So in other words, for example, for our display channels, we still have 10 display channels, but in order to access the output of a block or connect the output of a block to a display channel, we're going to have to assign a tag to the output of that block and then reference that tag in the panel data pop-up. So for example, in this program, I have this tag, which is VFD underscore SC underscore CMD. I have this tag tied to the output of the front panel track and hold block 68. So this front panel track and hold block is connected to the output for the VFD speed. So in order to connect this front panel track and hold block to the front panel display, what I have to do is I have to reference this tag in my front panel display channel. So I'd have to go here. Let's just say display channel 3. And I have to click 3 times. Click once to highlight, click a second time to highlight the area that I want to go onto, and then click a third time to get the drop down to appear. Now this drop down has all of the tags that have been created within this program. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to search for VFD SC CMD. So now when I click on that, now that's the tag that's referenced in display channel 3. I can also set up the engineering units, the number of decimal points, the 0, and the span. So one thing to keep in mind, if you have decimal places, like in this instance, we have 2 decimal places. Then we have a 0 of 0 and a span of 10,000. What that 10,000 is actually going to show up as on your front panel display is 100.00. So in the 0 and span, the full number that is shown is not taking into account the decimal points. So you have to keep those in mind. So if we were only going to say 1 decimal place, and we wanted this display to be 100.0, we would have to change the span to be 1,000. All right, and then in the last column here is going to be the message that's associated with this display channel. So for this case, this would be VFD speed %. Now you see in the message column that there are some messages that are wider or take up more characters than others. So what happens if you have a really long message in this column? Well, what's going to happen is the message is simply going to scroll across the screen. So like some of you probably see on your demonstration units, for some of the display channels, you have a scrolling message. Now, in the same way that the display channel is tag-based, the alarm channel is also tag-based. In fact, everything on the panel data pop-up is tag-based. So one caveat to that, the alarm channels do not have to be alarm tags. So this can be just simply a regular tag that is true or false. So it has to be a discrete style of tag, but it doesn't have to be an alarm discrete style of tag. Right? And for the alarm channel, we would just select our tag source. Then we can click over to the message column, and the message column is going to be the alarm message that's displayed on the PCC-IV front panel screen. Now you notice on the panel data pop-up that there is no save button. So once changes are made, you just have to go up to the X and close out of it, and it saves the changes for you automatically. One thing about the panel settings is that even though you see that we have a separate panel settings pop-up, we still have a panel block. The reason for that is that the panel block is tied to the panel settings for the common alarm output. Or if any channel in the alarm channels menu go true, then the panel block output goes true in order to activate your common alarm. And this was the same way that PCC-III was set up, and that functionality carried over to the PCC-IV. So we still use the panel block, but only to activate the common alarm output. We can click on the panel block and we can see the inputs. So the 2 inputs that we still have are the remote alarm silence block and then the annunciator enable block.